much. It was so powerful.
Well, Otter, I appreciate that call. What Otter is saying is true. The system wants a chilling effect. It wants to intimidate everybody so that we just sit back and then let the system kind of organize its own revolution that calls for collectivism and more of the same. If you don't want to live under a collectivist, socialist system on the bottom with a fascist system on top, if you don't want to live under that crony capitalist, anti-free market system, now is the time to get aggressive, folks. Now is the time to get involved because people are ready to listen right now. What's your take on that, Dan?
I think that's exactly right. If shows like yours don't get the message out, and people listen to you worldwide, they listen to our show also. If we can't get messages out to people to say now is the time, because every day that slips by is a day further and further that we cede control to a government that is absolutely not representing our best wishes anymore, and hasn't been for quite some time. Now is the time. We've got elections coming up. Yeah, you can't get that message out more strongly. People always say, what can they do as Americans? You can do what you and I are doing. We can go out and do radio shows and try to affect other people and hopefully bring them around and give them the facts to work off of. But people have to get off of their butts and get involved and not be afraid to express an opinion, not be intimidated by folks that were on that train, not be intimidated by the TSA or FEMA or others. And they're going to be good citizens that get swept up and that lose initially. But ultimately, if we don't do it now, we'll never have a chance to do it.
Well, the thing is, they're training us that we're prisoners, and the system has dealt with criminals so long, they basically have caught fleas. And by that, I mean, where the law enforcement meets the road, they treat everybody now, including little old ladies, like absolute criminal scum. And the truth is, if you want to play this guilty until proven innocent game, government statistically is a lot more corrupt than the average citizen, so you're the ones that have something to hide. How about we come search you? How about we come in your house without a warrant? Oh, no. No, we don't want that. That's national security to let you operate. Now, I want to get to some more calls here, but let's talk about Iran. Iran has come out and said that and in fact, here's Press TV, the official media agency of Iran. Iran has come out and they say that they're going to sue the U.S. government for staging terror attacks inside Iran, and they're going to the UN Security Council with that information. We know Israel and the U.S. launched the Stuxnet. What is your view and your take on that? And then I want to get back briefly into hyperinflation, what it generally looks like in Argentina, in Zimbabwe, in Weimar, Germany.
Well, I think briefly, I think it's within the realm of reason to assume that the U.S. is operating anywhere it wants to operate, and that other countries that have the U.S.'s capability can operate where they want to operate. Is it rational to assume they're operating in Iran? Absolutely. Is it rational to assume that they've already maybe done some significant damage in Iran? Absolutely. Iran wouldn't be bringing this up right now if damage hadn't already been done. The question now becomes, if enough damage has been done inside of Iran, then what's the purpose of proceeding forward with actions against Iran? Because obviously, once you start a significant conflict and drag in other parties, that's your comments earlier were exactly right. That's a whole new ballgame. If you can keep it below the radar and you can keep it out of the mainstream conflict, I think you'd be doing much better. So the question is damage being done inside Iran right now? I think the answer is absolutely yes.
Well, Iran says it's happening. They say their facilities are being attacked, but I would think Israel would be the one doing that, not the U.S.
That would be as good a bet as anything else would be.
Continuing here, what are you hearing from your sources? Because I know you do open source intelligence for government with your group on one of your side businesses. I mean, from what I've seen, Netanyahu's there saying, give me the green light. And a lot of people in the Israeli power structure are saying, you just want to do that for political expediency. And some are saying Obama may want that as a distraction from the energy company scams. The Drudge Report is talking about Obama's Nixon moment, refusing congressional subpoenas. I mean, what scuttlebutt are you hearing?
Well, if you need a wag the dog moment, and you and I have talked about this would be the perfect wag the dog moment. If Kane's a few minutes in the media doesn't stick longer than it is, then Obama's going to need something as a distraction. It's worked for presidents in the past. It'll work in the future. you've got a wag the dog moment coming up here. I think the U.S. has said to Israel and said to the world, if you act, you're acting unilaterally, which wouldn't be true, but the U.S. is trying to distance themselves from it. I think the stage has been set. I think the president has given Israel the permission to use the airspace it needs to use, and if they take it public and make this a much more glamorous event, a bigger event, then I think Israel is ready to go as soon as they corral and get their own people on board. All their people in Israel are not on board with attacking Iran, and that's what Netanyahu is working hard at right now.
Well, generally, Israel doesn't go around getting everybody in line. Some have said this is theater to make it look like deliberation, or they can hang it around Netanyahu's head if it doesn't go well. And I think there's some of that, but Israel doesn't normally behave like this from what I've watched. This looks like he is having to corral people.
He's trying to corral his own citizens, and I think he really wants a consensus inside of Israel. And I believe that's true, that not everybody in Israel is a big fan of creating what could escalate very quickly into something that might not be controllable. I don't think it will escalate into that. I think any action Israel takes will not be as open and overt and as major as everybody is speaking about.
Oh, so just the covert operations, not bombing of the facilities?
I'm just giving you my opinion, and it's worth exactly what you're paying for it right now, because I think that I think that it'll happen. I think it'll happen sooner rather than later, but I think it'll be very controlled, and it'll be more to send a message than it will be to destroy more than the facilities they're going after. They're certainly not going after the country in general.
And that's because it would probably turn the Iranian people against the West, right?
Sure, and there's no reason to go after the Iranian people in general. There's absolutely, and that would turn the tide against Israel now and in the future. If in any pinpoint attacks, at least you can say I took a position and I controlled my actions. So I think that's what.
Well, I'll tell you, it certainly doesn't help people at their barbecue joints saying, "Let's play cowboys and Iranians."
Yeah, I like that one. That's good.
You know that's a takeoff of a really racist joke.
Yes, I do know that. I was hoping you were going to go through the whole joke. Yeah, I think that's right. We'll see something sooner rather than later. I think the president needs it sooner. I don't think you can Israel can raise this level of concern and angst and out in the world for so long and then let it go by the wayside. They made a mistake a couple of years ago. And I don't think they're going to make that same mistake again.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. The New World Order is playing cowboys with the American people through the food, the water, the culture, these rural affairs committees, this rural affairs office. This is the total corporate takeover of America and the world, not by, some friendly Western group either. This is globalist, and it's cancer.
It is, and as you tell your folks on the show every day, the more you sit back and are complacent and take this, the greater the intimidation factor is going to be. And then one day, you won't have the strength to do it. I think people need to stand up now. They can still change the U.S. through the voting booth, but they may not be able to do that years down the road.
Well, there's no doubt government knows the people are awake and are trying to build up this giant propaganda as well as physical force against the people. And I hope we're not a nation of cowards. I hope that it has the effect it's had on me to make me get angry and motivated and focused to resist this. But in the final equation, we don't even need 10% of the public to defeat tyranny. So people shouldn't get demoralized by the furniture, by the sheeple, by the people that are too weak-minded to realize what's happening. All we need is a motivated minority, as Thomas Jefferson said, to set brush fires in the minds of men and women everywhere.
Well, you were able to do that up here in Dallas when you had your protest about the Fed and the Fed. It was a tremendous thing. A lot of Ron Paul supporters were there. You'd asked me about Ron Paul earlier. I have a lot of respect for Ron Paul. I think that he has many, many, many good ideas. This is the one area that you and I may have a little disagreement on, is when he starts talking about winding back the military and bringing them back to within our own borders. I'm not comfortable yet with that with Ron Paul, but as far as financially, as far as constitutionally, Paul's just absolutely a great candidate.
Dan Cofall, we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for spending time with us.
Always a pleasure, Alex. Thank you so much. Look forward to having you on our show.
You bet. Look forward to doing it. A popular show up there in Dallas. Okay, listen, I'll go into overdrive, whatever has to happen. I'm going to get to Matt. I'm going to get to Frank. Frank's actually ahead of Matt. No, it's Matt and then Frank and then others. I'll get to George, Steve, and others. But I briefly wanted to bring Ted Anderson up here to talk about what's happening in global markets. Ted, we told people that as soon as they, quote, bailed out Greece, that they would start imploding Italy and then Spain and Portugal, which have much greater debts, and that American taxpayers are going to pay for a lot of this. I mean, this is insane, Ted, and look what's happening with the markets right now. Ted, tell us what's going on.
Yeah, right now gold is at $1793.90, up $38.90. Hit a high today of $17.94. Silver right now at $35.02, hitting a high today of $35.04. It's been a hot market right now, Alex. You're right about that. The Greeks are protesting, probably as they should, because the bailout is for the banks. It's not for the government. It's not for the people. There are a lot of banks that have their hind ends on the line here, and they're trying to get the people to pay it off through taxation. And you better believe it, it's coming right here to the United States next. And you can already see that happening. I mean, these banks have become predators, and the creation of money is just destroying the savings of the people. It's predatory, it's wrong, and gold is showing the result of it right now, because we almost have $1,800 gold today.
And by the way, Ted, I should point out that you're joining us via video Skype, by the way, and it looks great. Please continue.
Yeah, no, just right now. I mean, I was reading David Levinstein's little quote here, and he just says, as far as I'm concerned, corrupt governments that engage in the reckless spending in the banks and the financial institutions that defraud, lie, deceive their own customers and are financial predators. And it just goes on to saying that, just what I said, it's destroying the savings of the people. It's ruining life for the middle class. It's just like Ron Paul says, just like we've been saying, that bailout going on in Greece is just the tip of the iceberg. Gold sitting here at $1793.90 is just a reflection of that. The United States dollar is going to continue to drop, and that's why I think it's so very important that people get involved in gold and silver. Your idea of that American Dream video, and for me to get the opportunity to put $2 silver in there, deliver that to people for $73, which is well below the cost, to get it to people so they can become aware, get a little bit of education of exactly what's going on. That's what this is about. I mean, you have these protests going on out in Greece, and we have these protests going on out here in Wall Street, New York. Obviously, these people don't know the full story, and what they need to have is a seed to be planted in the minds of the people so we can get back to true patriotism.
Just to be clear, you were going to have to go up as silver goes up soon. A few weeks ago, it was $73, $2 silver. That's basically at cost. Then the free DVD about the banker takeover, its history, and the book, Mark Dice's book, all of that free on top of it. What are the $2 silver now with the free video and book?
Well, I'm still doing them right now at $73, Alex, but you got to realize if you broke all that apart and just bought them individually, you would be paying well over $100 for the whole package. But shipping the whole thing, we're still doing it for $73. And the reason why I'm doing it, it does lose money. Flat out, there's no way that you can make money at this dollar level. However, it gets the message to the people. Plus, also, I'm just so revved up to see what happened with your money bomb. I mean, what a great way to support the movement and what's, the whole thing.
And by the way, I should tell folks they can still donate at InfoWarsMoneyBomb.com. And until sometime tomorrow afternoon, we're going to keep restreaming that 27 hours with all those guests. If anybody missed the David Icke, the Fritz Springmeier, the George Norrie, all of it. And by the way, I will be on for 3 hours tonight. 3 hours with George Norrie, 3 hours of the show this evening. So very, very exciting about that. CoastToCoastAM.com. John, Ted's on with us, the boss. We'll skip this network break so we can continue talking to folks. I am horrible about skipping breaks, but that's the only way I can finish the show and then try to get to your phone calls and hit all this news. Ted, we never really toot our horns properly. Everything we talked about is coming true. The Vatican, and again, I got a lot of friends that are Catholic, friends that are Baptist, friends that are whatever. I'm not bashing Catholics here, but I mean, the main Vatican Council did come out and call for a global government, a global bank. You've got all these major institutions